Nowadays, it's far more common to see a beloved franchise continue on in alternate mediums, especially with all the licensing restrictions in films. This happens a lot in comic books, where the publishing rights are a little more forgiving than what the major movie studios will allow. But it's rare for a movie to continue on as a television series. Sometimes we'll see a successful series make a comeback as a feature film, but what usually happens is if a series of films gets adapted to television, it's usually a whole new thing, with a different cast, crew, the whole shebang. Ash vs. Evil Dead is a unique specimen because for years, Bruce Campbell turned down the possibility of there ever being a fourth film, and there probably never will be. Yet, here it is, the fourth outing of our dim-witted Ash, presented as a 10-episode television series on a network that's ripe for the picking. Starz made sure to give the filmmakers the freedom to do anything they wanted, and what we get is exactly what fans have been asking for since Evil Dead 2. Don't get me wrong, Army of Darkness is hands down my favorite entry in the series, but Evil Dead 2 has that perfect blend of gore and humor. It's goofier than the first film, yet doesn't take it to the extremes that Army of Darkness did, which is why most fans liked it the best. And Ash vs. Evil Dead comes pretty close to delivering that same balancing act.
You know they were Jewish, right?
I did not. Wish it could have said something before I made those dumb crosses.
Now, this is a TV series, so I could go on and on forever, reviewing every episode in detail, but I also have a ton of other films to cover, so I'll try to go over the basics. Here we go. Ash accidentally reached from the Necronomicon, releasing the Deadites once again, and now he has to stop them. There you go, that's Ash vs. Evil Dead. Well, what did you expect? That's what happened in the last 3 films, so why would this one be any different? Okay, the first episode, which was actually directed by the man himself, Sam Raimi, is pretty much the closest to capturing the feel of the original trilogy. It starts off with Ash, now in his late 50s, listening to Space Truckin' as he's getting ready to hit the bar. And he's still driving that classic 73 Delta. Right off the bat, they make Ash come off as a completely clueless douchebag who spends his nights smacking on older women and getting high. If you saw Bruce Campbell's film My Name is Bruce, where Campbell spends the whole film playing a caricature of himself, that's pretty much what he's doing here. This really felt cheap to me because think about it. Ash was never really a dumb guy. He got more selfish as time went on, but Ash was always kind of a badass, starting somewhere in the middle of Evil Dead 2. Army of Darkness was where it got really goofy, but even there, he redeems himself in the end. Come on, Duke Nukem stole his one-liners.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hail to the king, baby.
There is absolutely no hope for this version of Ash. He stumbles into the bar and throws a dart, which misses its mark by a mile. It's a funny shot, but this isn't the same Ash I remember from the early 90s. So he starts screwing this random chick, again making him pretty unlikable, when he gets a creepy premonition that the Deadites are about to return. He hurries home to grab the Necronomicon, and why he still has the book I'll never know, and finds a bag of weed between its pages. So, yeah, he reminisces about a night where he and some crazy tattooed girl got high off their asses and read from the book.
Fuck.
Now, I've never gotten high, but I was told that pot doesn't really impact your judgment all that much. You mean to tell me that after everything Ash went through, he doesn't have enough self-control, even as baked as he is, to know better? It's kind of a weird play, because all through the series, Ash goes from this Peter Sellers-like screw-up to the guy who gets things done. For example, the climax of the first episode is a real crowd pleaser where Ash gets the chainsaw and gets back into action.
How does it feel?
Groovy.
Then, in the third episode where he decides to summon a demon voluntarily, he's back to making all the wrong choices. It's like his character has zero development. He just has an on-off switch where he can go from being a total idiot to a hero in 6 seconds. The 2 side characters that get sucked into Ash's adventure are Pablo and Kelly, who both work at Value Shop with Ash. There is no S-Mart, as the showrunners couldn't get the rights to use that name from the films. Pablo essentially worships Ash and wants to learn how to become as good of a fighter as him. His uncle is a witch doctor who eventually shows up to give Ash hallucinogenic medicine so he can try to find a way to end the evil. Kelly is just a girl Ash hits on right from her first day of work, and when her dead mother shows up on her dad's doorstep, Ash takes it as a sign that the Deadites have something to do with it. Then there's Michigan State Trooper Amanda Fisher, who visits the old cabin and has an encounter with one of the demons who possesses her partner. After that, she gets suspended from the police force and continues to hunt Ash down after running into a wild card, Ruby Noby, played by Lucy Lawless.
I'm your new best friend.
Ruby has some kind of connection to the demons, and she also carries around Ash's severed hand, further linking the series directly to Evil Dead 2. So those are the central characters. Now my biggest thing with this is, I think I would have preferred a fourth film over a series. After Bruce Campbell found success as Sam Axe on the show Burn Notice, one of my favorite shows by the way, it's understandable why he'd want to continue the franchise in this way. And come on, 5 hours of entertainment beats 90 minutes. I get it. But honestly, every show, aside from the locations, is basically the same thing. Someone gets possessed, and Ash and his sidekicks have to stop it. And the series isn't all about Ash. It seems that Pablo and Kelly get just as much screen time. And if this were a movie, I'd be buying the ticket based on Bruce Campbell. His name's in the title, after all. Don't get me wrong, Pablo's pretty funny, and Kelly has her moments, but most of the time, she's just kind of a dull character. I just felt that as a series, it took what could have been a really cool idea for Evil Dead 4 and stretched it out. The episodes get really weird and introduce concepts that have never been seen before in prior films, such as the Demon Aligos, who slips into people's minds and forces them to go insane. Also, the episode where Ash hallucinates is just batshit crazy. Now, the second half of the series, honestly, is where it feels more or less like an Evil Dead film. Ash encounters a band of Michigan militia nutjobs and gets trapped in an underground bunker with their newly possessed leader.
I'm coming to get you!
It's both a funny and really gory episode, and is one of the few times where both Pablo and Kelly are equally as entertaining to watch. Of course, it all builds to a showdown in Ash's old cabin, where crap really starts to hit the fan. Ash battles Evil Ash once again, who grew himself from Ash's severed hand, and the Necronomicon becomes alive. Also, we find out how Ruby plays into all this. The climax is pretty disappointing, as nothing really gets accomplished and only serves to set up the second season, which, you know what, I'm actually looking forward to. I'm really glad that the showrunners chose to go with the half-hour format, because honestly, I really don't see each episode stretching for an hour long. It's flawed, sure, but it's really entertaining, and it gives fans what they want, which is a bloody good time. It's both funny and scary, and while it's got its share of filler episodes, I take this over nothing at all. If you're a fan of Evil Dead, you have no choice but to check out this series.